I'm recording now.
I'm recording now, too. Hooray. I was eliminating as much white noise as possible. So here's what was going to happen. I was going to open up the podcast. I didn't have enough energy to do this. I'm letting you know about a prank that I didn't do. Not because I didn't want to prank you, but because I didn't have the energy. So I was going to open up the podcast with someone else already here, mic'd up, like ready to fucking go, and just be talking to them when you called me and just go, oh, hey, Odie. So anyway, and just go into the fucking thing.
You know, that would have backfired so hard because since I still have COVID and I'm tired, I would have just hung up and gone back to bed. I would have just been like, cool, I get another week off. Back to bed I go.
You know what? You can't. All right?
No.
The theme music's rolling already.
I'm here.
All right, let's kick it off. Let's do the fucking thing. I don't care if you got COVID. You're shackled to this. I told you episodes ago.
I don't care that you're sick.
You are beholden to this podcast. I'm Mr. Burns. You are Smithers. I'm sick too. All right, you ready to clap?
No.
Okay, now are you ready to clap?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I can't slap my fucking face! God damn it! 3, 2, 1! Ah, fucking A. I hit my head, but anyway, Jesus Christ. Welcome back to another episode of the Handicapped Unpop podcast.
We're not cops, so you are correct.
We're not
cop.
Welcome back to the Handicapped Uncap. We're not cap. Uncop Unpop podcast
of potpourri.
Where we have a ton of potpourri, and I wish it was just in my mouth absorbing blood right now. I'm your captain. Bleeding as always. Hopefully not as always, but bleeding anyway. Kevin Miner, Todo Siempre, he, him. With me as always is...
all the food is contaminated in the kitchen because the chef got COVID. They, them, Odie Matthews.
Jesus Christ! S-O fucking
Dude,
S
okay.
This week.
So
God.
I want to catch up the dear listener because obviously I had 2 weeks off. You had two incredible guests. You talked about Alien Romulus.
When you said the dear listener, all I could think of was like a really bad, slow, dramatic sequel to The Deer Hunter.
Was that worth it?
Just yes. Sorry, keep going. Just Christopher Walken being like, I've been writing to you for so long. I don't even know how to explain my PTSD. Anyway, keep going.
Anyways, sorry. I was just gonna say I'm back. We have a lot to catch up on, but I still feel like crap. You said I look like crap. That's awesome.
I didn't say that on the air. You are the one who made that official.
No, I'm calling you out because you said I look like crap.
I said you look like a hot mess, which is something that a good friend says to a friend when they look like a hot mess. If you say you look like crap, you're not that good a friend. If you say you look like a hot mess, that's that's almost a term of endearment. Like, there's always there's the friend who's like a permanent hot mess in the friend group, right? And everyone's always like, oh, that's Tammy. She's a hot mess.
That's
like
Tammy.
We just know this about Tammy, right? But we love her anyway. She's still invited to brunch. It's fine, right? That's who you are this week. You're hot mess.
Well,
mess chef. Hot mess chef. Hot
you
mess
had your
chef.
wisdom teeth
You
taken
can't even
out?
handle my energy this week.
No, I can handle
What's
it.
up?
You got your wisdom teeth taken out, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, so
I feel like a hot mess.
My question for you is, when are you auditioning for Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Oh, sick burn! that was not bad.
It took me 3 days to think of that.
Of that one, really?
Yep.
Wow.
3 brainstorming sessions, 2 hired PR firms, and 1 psychic reading later, and that was the insult.
Do you have your wisdom teeth out?
Yeah, I got mine taken out when I was 18 in the military.
What was it like? Tell me what getting your wisdom teeth out was like, and I'll tell you what my adventure was.
Okay. So all I remember from the actual procedure was them telling me to count down.
Yep.
And then I woke up in the car. There's a video of me. It'll never make its way online of me saying I want pizza in the blender so I can drink it, and that I look like a Kardashian because my mouth was so swollen.
Yep.
Then like 2 days later, my life returned to normal. No
Great.
pain, not a lot of issues.
Great. Same. Not a ton of pain, just a little discomfort, big swollen mouth. But let me tell you about my adventure, because I went to Northeast Surgical Specialists, who I recommend to everyone if you're getting your teeth out. They were absolutely phenomenal. Bedside manner was impeccable. Even one of the girls, I will, let's just say her name is Tammy. She's
Tammy.
I'm not gonna just throw down real names of real doctors and nurses on the podcast, but let's just say Tammy. She was. They described her as being the Debbie Downer of the office. Even she was great. I opted for local anesthetic only while sitting in the pre-operational appointment, like a few weeks ago. They were like, all right, we'll pick your operation date. We can always put you under, or you can just go local anesthetic. And I like paused and I kind of stared at the surgeon. I was like, let's have fun with this. Let's go local anesthetic only. Let's do it.
Why?
Right? Because it's fun and it's a story. And now I was awake for the whole thing. And let me tell you, it was fun in a story. First off, I found out during the procedure that I am my dentist's favorite patient. That, in itself, was enough.
His ego, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, is getting as big as his cheeks from his surgery.
Hold on. So I go in. We're doing all the pre-op. They do a little x-ray. They lay me down in the chair, right? I'm chilling. Like, they're just checking things out. Surgeon comes in. He's great. First off, he's great. His husband seems like a great person. He works in finance too. I'm like getting to know everybody, right? So I've got Tammy over here. Let's call the other one Kristen, and let's say my doctor is Chris, right? So I've got Tammy, Kristen, and Chris. Chris. I hope that's not his real name. Anyway, Chris.
You just doxed him by accident.
I honestly can't remember. I have a little bit of brain fog because I'm taking more medicine than I normally. I've taken so much Tylenol and ibuprofen and like been sleeping a ton and recovering and bleeding out of my head all day. But so I'm like laying down and they're like, all right, we're gonna numb you up, and they were like, this is the hardest part, and I was like, oh really? And so they're like jabbing needles in my mouth into the side of my cheek and stuff. And I'm just like kind of sitting there like still, normal, like, and they were just like, does that hurt at all? I'm like, no, but I could like feel it like touching my jawbone on the inside, right? And I was just like, oh, interesting. And I was like, maybe this is different for people who get punched in the face regularly. I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe I might have conditioned myself perfectly.
You've been training your whole life for your wisdom teeth removal, and you didn't even know it.
I've been training at least a year in Muay Thai to get injections in my face. Who knew? But no, so like. So they do the injections. So they're like, cool, we're going to give you 10 minutes. When they put that much localized anesthetic into like the top and bottom of your cheeks, your whole mouth just goes numb. And Tammy comes back in and I go, I'm going to drool on myself today, aren't I? And she's just like, you might. You might, Kev. And then they lead me back. Here's the funny thing about wisdom teeth surgery. I don't think that it should be called surgery at all, and they used the term that I think we should use for wisdom teeth surgery. It is not so much a surgery as it's an extraction, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Because they have tools. Like, I was awake during the whole thing. The surgeon, he literally just starts putting these big metal tools in my mouth and prying. There's no, they're not going in and, making little incision. We think of surgery, we're like, oh yeah, you make like an incision and then you got to clean that up and then you got to do this. There's all these processes that involve cutting the body open and stuff. No, they're literally just prying. And not only that, because I was awake and we had to counterbalance some of the prying. It was probably a good thing that I was awake, because I can't imagine what they do when you're asleep. They must hold your head in place because they have to put a lot of pressure to rip your teeth out of your head. And I was just laying there oh, this was a lot. You're really working that thing.
That's why I was knocked out for mine.
He said my bottom jaw is really strong. I don't know if that was just maybe that was just to make me feel better about the whole.
Compliments left and right for Kevin.
Or maybe I honestly think it's because he was pulling so hard and he couldn't get it out right away. But then Here was the thing that really like sold it home that this should just be called an extraction and not a surgery. You should go for wisdom teeth extraction because they have a tool when they break your tooth and they can't get a piece out, just called a spade. It's just what is this? A spade is a shovel. That is a type of shovel that just goes. It's a little baby shovel, a little cute shovel. It just goes right into your gum and digs out a piece of your tooth that they couldn't get, and that's it. And then they pull everything out, and then there's maybe like 2 stitches that go on each side of your mouth. That's it. That's the only part that I would consider surgery is you get like 2 stitches on each side of your mouth. Other than that, this is just blunt force extraction. Like just pull.
You know what?
What's up?
We could make a movie called Extraction, but put like 2 O's
Put
in
J
it.
Extraction in it.
Because there's already a movie called Extraction with Chris
Perfect.
Hemsworth, so we could try to find a way to capitalize on that name. But it's really just about somebody at the dentist getting their wisdom teeth taken out for an hour and a half.
We'll call it Extractions with a money sign.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Done. Sold.
Sold.
Anyway, that was my adventure this week, and now I'm all like, I've been cooped up. I hate it. I can't do the things that I'm used to doing. I'm like walking around my house. My mom's like, you're not used to this, are you? And I'm like, no. I can't do anything. I can't go run. I can't go do all of the active things that I'm used to doing. I'm like, how do people live without doing all these things? Like, I have no idea.
Well, they do different things.
Like, what?
Well, I mean, like, I can't leave the house. Well, I can't. I gotta I gotta take another test to see if I'm finally negative. But, I mean, I was stuck inside all day and I just worked on YouTube videos. So I was busy, just not physically busy.
Yeah, you can probably see from my surroundings. I've organized and reorganized my entire Magic card collection twice.
Maybe
that's what I did.
I've
read a book. I watched all of Over the Garden Wall because it's fall. And
yep.
that's a necessary thing. We got a crisp breeze, and I watched Over the Garden Wall. Ooh, I also ate potatoes with molasses. Have you ever had that?
I've always wondered what that would actually taste like.
It's fucking delicious.
Is it really?
Don't put a lot on there. Don't treat it like gravy. I just drizzled a little bit, but it was perfect. I got to tell you.
How'd you cook your potatoes? That's key.
Oh, they were mashed. Okay.
Mashed. Okay.
I'm.
Oh, right. You can't eat anything because your teeth.
I'm so used to being independent that like my mom, like when I came home from, like, first off, I was able to drive myself to and from because I didn't get anesthetic. Like I didn't get anesthetized completely. So like my mom like was just trying to find ways to help me all day. She was like, "Can I make you potatoes?" This is like day 1, and I'm like, "No, I'm good." And then she's like, "Can I get you ice cream from the store?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." And I realized like she's just trying to be a mom. So then the next day I walked up like to her and I was like, "You can make potatoes today and you can go get me ice cream from the store." And
I will allow it.
She just wanted that nice feeling of being a mom and caring for her kid. And I'm so like used to just doing everything on my own and being so busy that I was just like, "No, it's fine. I think that's an inconvenience for you." It's not. Let your mom care for you. That's a lesson for the podcast listeners right there. If your mom cares enough to care, let her care for you.
That's the caveat.
She's got to care enough to care, but then you got to let her care.
Exactly.
Anyway, so you've been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you been doing? Where you been?
Shit.
I've had 2 phenomenal guest hosts.
Yeah, I was trying to talk about it, but then you interrupted me for your weird Christopher Walken joke.
All right. Let's push Christopher Walken out of the picture.
He was never in the picture.
Start over.
I was saying.
Odie.
Yes.
Where are you going?
Oh, my God. No.
Hit me.
What do you mean, where am I going? You mean, where have I been? I was in Miami.
Yeah.
I was in Miami for about 4 days for a bachelor party.
How do we feel about Miami? Are we banned from Miami? What's up?
Okay, here's the thing about Miami.
Thank you.
I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
What, you don't like sunshine?
Well, look, as somebody who
You don't like Latin people?
No, hold on. As somebody who lived in Florida for like a decade.
You don't like Cubanos?
No, if I could reach through the screen. I can't wait for us to record in person so I can just shush you. Just shush.
Okay.
I can't do it over Skype, obviously, but in person I can. No, but like, I don't like the heat. I don't like Florida's weather. Like it's not for me. I
Okay.
like seasons. I like the leaves to change. I like my snow. I like my cold weather, right? So
You
Florida,
like New York?
yeah, I like New York. I like Colorado. I like Utah. I like Massachusetts. I like a lot of places that aren't Florida that have seasons.
Yeah.
But I like my Florida, I think on the whole has never been a state that appeals to me because I'm not a tourist who cares about theme parks, which is like Orlando, and I don't personally like the beaches that much.
Okay.
I don't get Miami in the sense
Oh, you don't
that
like beaches?
No, not for me. Not for me.
I'm not gonna call that a hot take, but
I would rather
All
do
right.
anything
That
else
is
than go to the beach.
that is a lifestyle opinion.
Yeah, I
That's what
can't.
that is.
We didn't go to the beach.
Oh, I
on
love
this-
the beach.
in the Miami trip, but like, it's just nothing starts until like 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then you have like a 4-hour window to just be like a drug-induced alcoholic party animal.
Yeah.
And like, I think for me, I see the appeal of Miami for that, like the people that want to go party and experience all that stuff. But as as somebody who doesn't really drink, I'm not a party animal. I don't like clubs. I'm not a huge fan of going to bars. Like, the scene of Miami was the furthest thing from what I personally would want to do.
Yeah.
That I had a good time because obviously it's one of my best friends and his friend group that I get along with, and he's getting married. So like, you know, the bachelor party. Best person in me.
You were along as a bro. You're being a good bro.
I'm his best person, which they did change the name around just for me.
We love that.
So
progressive. We love that.
You know, this was my chance. This is my first opportunity. This is my
To
first
be best
time
person.
being this at a bachelor party. So this is my first time to like take all of those bachelor party movies that I've watched and use that knowledge for good. But it was fun. Like,
so was this more of like a Tom Hanks stag party type thing, or was this more of like a National Lampoon's bachelor party type thing, or was this more of a like American Pie the series bachelor party type thing? Which one? Which debauch and sexist version of a bachelor party did you embody here, Odie? The listeners want to know.
What's the bachelor party where it's a bunch of rich finance bros who are all married in their 30s and they just go to nice dinners and hang out by the pool and smoke cigars? Because that's what we did.
Oh, that's nice. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on the trip is either, you know, married or getting married. So we were really just there to go to nice restaurants. We went to a couple like fancy bars. We went to a rooftop party. But overall, like, I had a good time because obviously I'm there for my bro.
Okay.
Miami, I don't think we're banned, but it's definitely not a city that I would go back to. Full stop. Like, it's just,
so you wouldn't go back, but you're not kicked out.
if you were like, hey, if you told me you're like, hey, I'm having my bachelor party in Miami, I'll be there. I would question it, but I'll be there. Like,
I don't know why I would do that.
Me either.
That would be a horrible idea.
That'd be a terrible idea.
Yeah,
but
I
if
don't know
you
why I would do
did,
that.
I'd
That's
go
not for
back.
me.
You're the
No,
only
that's
person
not for
I'd
me.
go back for.
No, you know what we're doing for my bachelor party? We're playing D&D, baby.
Of course.
We're gonna get together with a bunch of nerds and play some Magic the Gathering and D&D and just fucking chill. Like, that's what's up. I'm gonna have a great time because the rest of my life is so like it's so energetic. I'm talking to you about it now. Sitting and relaxing is a luxury for me. Right? So the luxury that I want is sitting and relaxing. I think the bachelor party can quietly die. I think it can quietly die because it comes from a tradition of like, oh, it's the last time you can have sex out of wedlock. Like, that's where the bachelor party originally comes from. It's like, well, let's go and let's objectify the opposite gender, you know, and like then bachelorette parties came along because it was women taking the power back. And I think like many things, I think a bachelor and a bachelorette party, like, the concept of them, or at least the old concept of them, can just fucking die.
It's just
fine.
an excuse to get together with close friends to celebrate. That's it. And you know, it's funny you mentioned the relaxing as a luxury thing.
Yeah.
So I'll flash forward. Miami was fun. I came back and I got a cold, and then I had 3 days before I turned around and caught a red eye to New Jersey. To what was that? That wasn't even a New Jersey accent.
Fuck did you just say to me?
I got a red eye.
What did you just say?
New Jersey.
New
Jersey.
Joyzy.
New Jersey.
No. We're not moving forward until you get this right. New Joyzy.
New Jersey.
It's like joy, but you say it all weird.
Joyzy.
It's like nope.
New Jersey.
Nope.
New York. I'm walking here.
You said, see how you said here? New Jersey.
New
right?
Jersey.
Here.
New Jersey.
Here.
New Jersey.
Here. Joy. Here,
this isn't going anywhere.
You got it. No, you got to say it right.
I don't know how to do accents, let alone a New Jersey
Just
accent.
say New Jersey.
New Jersey. That's the closest we're getting. Anyways.
All right. Wouldn't pass, but all right. Good try.
Anyways,
good try. A for effort this morning.
For my sister-in-law's wedding. Look, obviously, like, getting together. My in-laws are fucking
Are we
incredible.
kicked out of New Jersey?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
My in-laws, these are all in-laws. But like
wait,
uncles,
first off, where in New Jersey? South Jersey or Central or North?
So my in-laws moved more towards the western side of New Jersey. They used to live near Newark.
Western North or Western South?
Near the Pennsylvania border. So like western
North.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
But like,
Trump country, New Jersey.
Well, they moved out there. My in-laws bought a farm, and they have horses and stuff now, which was super fucking cool. My father and mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Everybody on my mother-in-law's side of the family, they're the Kaplan side. They're all Northeastern. They're Jewish. They're incredible. So I had we have cousins, second cousins, aunts, uncles, great uncle, great aunt, like so much family. And like one of my favorite things, and I think I've definitely mentioned it to you in real life outside of this pod. What? What did you say?
Just go.
There is nothing I love more than when my in-laws have a party, because they throw the best events, the best party with the best food, and they're just the best fucking people. So that was that weekend, and then I came back and immediately tested positive for COVID. And then what you said about luxury, like relaxing is a luxury. Well, I got to work from home for my job, so
that's good.
After I get done with work every day, I'm like, okay, now I got to start working on YouTube stuff. Got to start editing. And like yesterday, I told myself, we're gonna try not to do anything today. We're gonna play some PlayStation after work. We're gonna watch a movie, and we're gonna relax. And the entire time, Kevin, I'm like, I should be working on this. I should be doing this. I couldn't even get myself by the end of the night. I felt more guilty for not doing anything than I did for like relaxing.
Yeah, what is that? Why do we have that? Like, is it because we grew up in hustle culture? Like, is it because like we grew up through like the thick of it? I know hustle culture is like a buzz term, and like it has a positive or negative connotation regardless of who you are, or depending on who you are, not regardless. But like I feel like when I stop moving, I'm kind of like, wait, what am I doing? What are we doing
have you heard
here?
that thing where it's like retirees, they'll be like in their 70s and they'll have worked, their entire life, whether it be, an 8 to 5 or on a farm or whatever. And then they retire and they keep doing things like, they keep working on a farm or they keep doing hobbies. And in the moment that they just go to waking up and just kind of like sitting in their recliner and doing nothing, that's when their health starts to deteriorate, and that's when they start to die. It's when they stop moving. Yeah. And like, I know you're like that too. I feel like if I'm not doing something, I'm not functioning. Like I have to be. Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop moving until I start deteriorating and dying, and someone goes, "You literally can't anymore," and that'll be a sad day and a sobering day. But like,
I'll push you around in a wheelchair. Don't worry.
Great. I honestly I feel like, barring any crazy accidents or like unforeseen health events, I have a feeling I'm going to be one of those dudes who's like, I'm 92 and I'm in the old people Olympics. Like, like I'm going to be like, I'm one of the fastest 92-year-old sprinters in the world. Watch me go.
Speaking of old people Olympics,
hit me.
I want to talk to you about the crow.
Okay.
Let me actually. So I originally was gonna do a video on the crow, but it made my brain hurt so bad. I couldn't.
Okay.
I couldn't.
The crow made your brain hurt.
My crow brain hurt made me badly.
Okay. Here's the thing. You have been I know you're dedicated to seeing a bunch of movies in theaters this year. I'm so glad I did not go to see that movie. As soon as the trailers really started rolling out for that thing, I was like, oh, this looks bad.
It looked so good. What are you talking about?
No, it does not.
I know, it looks awful.
Here's how you know there's not a lot of faith in a movie. When trailer 1, trailer 2, trailer 3 all kind of highlight the same 3 moments that are only going to last for like 5 minutes of the film, you're like, they really couldn't salvage a lot from this, huh? Or if they explain the entire plot so that when people go see it, they can just like sit and like lock in and just stare at the screen. Like that, those are the 2 types of trailers that I'm like very wary of. I'm like, okay, this.
You want to know the funny thing is?
This might be bad.
The trailers do not actually tell you what this movie is really like. That's the funny thing. And
is it bad?
You're absolutely spot on with the trailer moments because in doing Magnum Opus, one of the things I always do before I watch the movie is I watch the trailers. I watch all the trailers because I want to see how is this movie marketed and how does it actually present. And a common theme I see, like Bloodshot. Bloodshot's a great example. Yep. Every trailer highlights the same like 2 action scenes. And that movie's bad.
Yeah,
so I think you're onto something.
Yeah, no. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like when they keep showing, when every single trailer shows like the same 3 scenes that are like, but it's only showing snippets of those scenes. I'm like, I don't know that I like this. Okay.
Do you want to know if The Crow is bad?
You want to talk to me about The Crow? Do we have anything else to talk about before we get into The Crow this week?
Let me think. Is there anything else that I want to bring up?
You know what? Let's just do really bad spoilers for The Crow right
now. Oh, yeah,
now.
definitely spoilers. Not that you don't already know everything about it. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, you know how this movie goes.
Okay, so our listeners should not want to see this movie in theaters.
We talked about Borderlands, and we joked and we talked about how probably it's one of the worst movies of the year because it had a big budget, because it had big stars. It was
the worst movie I saw this year.
Crow is worse.
No!
And here's the thing. And I said it when we talked about Borderlands, and I'll say it again. When you put up a movie, and I've seen it online, and like a couple people in Magnum Opus realm like said it to me, like you put up a movie like Madam Web compared to Borderlands, or in this case, Madam Web to The Crow. The Madam Web is laughably bad. It's one of those movies where it's so bad, it's just funny. Like you're like, this is how did this even get made? Like who thought of this? Like who put this movie together? Like how did this come out in theaters? Because it's that bad. So there's some charm to the trash.
Okay.
The Crow takes everything from the original, which I am a diehard fan of the original. I was introduced to it later in life. About 5 years ago, I watched it for the first time. Yeah. And it's incredible. It's an incredible movie.
Yeah, the original Crow is great. It's like super edgy, angsty. Yeah. It's kind of like where like that real edgy anti-hero kind of started. Like super dark makeup, Sting from ECW? ECW? WCW copied the makeup, it was like the long wet hair all the time, like the hair's always wet, just always depressed. The Crow, actually, I would say that The Crow, the original movie with Brandon Lee, actually informed a lot of emo culture.
So that's the thing, right? Like, and that's what I was going to say next, actually. So, like, I've watched a lot of, like, making of and obviously the tragic story of Brandon Lee passing away on the set of The Crow because of a malfunctioning prop gun that shot a real bullet. There's a lot to the original Crow movie that I think makes it special. And one of the things that I think is so well done even 30 years later is how it has that, like, punk goth scene, but without it being, like, here is the punk goth. Like, it's not... In the original Crow, it's just the setting. It's not in your face. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not like you're constantly being reminded of, look how punk this guy is. Look how goth this guy is.
I forget. What city are they in? Chicago?
It's Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. Yeah. Okay. So they're in the original Crow too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so they're in Detroit, and they're like, it's dirty, gritty, crime-ridden Detroit.
Yeah. And it's like RoboCop. This guy...
Yeah, all right. Hey, let's just do this. Let's go. Spoilers for the sucky Crow right here.
Oh wait, I got the sound bit for you. You ready?
What?
It's Devil's Night, and I'm back from the dead to give you some fucking spoilers, cause I'm the Crow.
Okay, so where do I start? Let's start with how the new Crow is nothing like the original in all the wrong ways.
What?
Okay, so I want to start with this, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot as I've covered a lot of reboots and like legacy sequels.
Prequels.
The whole prequel.
The year of prequels. Yeah.
Prequels. I think that you can, and I'm not against doing a remake or a reboot of a property and changing certain elements, but I think that there are some things, The Crow being one of them, that the core message, the core plot element of this is a tragic love story. One of them they die. One of them comes back to seek revenge to get closure. That is like the core of this story, right?
We love it.
The new Crow sort of keeps that, but one of my favorite things about the original is how it opens on Devil's Night, and I think the Devil's Night is like really an important aspect of the story. It's not in the new one at all, not even mentioned, not even a name drop. It's also not Detroit. It looks like more like New York City, but it's never. I think at one point they mentioned it's like a place called Angel City, so they made like a fictional city for no reason, but it's literally just New York.
Okay, also weird.
So when the original Crow starts, Eric and Shelley? Is it Shelley?
I don't know, man.
It's been a while.
I haven't seen the first one in a long time. I didn't even prep to talk about The Crow because, like, I just remember I remember watching The Crow as a kid at, like, I think my mom was, like, kind of, like, seeing this dude, and he had, like, a hot daughter, and she was like, The Crow's my favorite movie. And I was like, all right, hot girl, let's watch The Crow. Like, that was my introduction to The Crow.
Okay, so Eric and Shelley in the original, they're already like a couple. They're already in love. Their apartment gets, it gets attacked. Some very not so PC things happen to Shelley. She gets SA'd, and then Eric gets thrown from a window. Shelley later dies in the hospital, and then a year later, Eric comes back as the Crow and starts to seek revenge. That's the first Crow, right?
Okay.
This new one is an hour and 45 minutes. And it takes almost an hour for him to die and come back as the Crow.
What?
The movie starts, all right? The movie opens, Kevin, with him trying to save a horse who's wrapped up in barbed wire while his mom is asleep on a couch in a trailer. That is the opening scene to this movie, is young Eric Draven. Then we get introduced to FKA Twig's character, Shelley.
I love FKA Twigs, first off. Let me just throw that out there. Love her as an artist. She's amazing.
Terrible in this. So this movie, and this is one of those things where I'm like, okay, changing this element, I'm okay with it if they had done something with it.
Okay.
This movie wanted to kind of focus on building up the love between the two main characters, but
you don't have to do that.
The thing is the way they do it is basically Shelley and her friends recorded this gangster guy doing something shady, and now people are after them. So she gets in front of a cop, she drops a bunch of drugs, so they arrest her, and she ends up in this they're not juvenile because they're obviously adults, but it's not prison, but it's also not rehab. It's like this weird facility for troubled adults, I guess.
Is this another film that was written by AI?
Dude, it might be because
they just doctored the script to kind of make a storyline. What
it
the fuck is going on?
It gets worse. We're just gonna go through the plot of this because I just need you to know how stupid this is.
Yeah,
so she gets there. She meets Eric. He's in the psychiatric place or whatever. And this is where the movie really starts to be look how emo and goth Eric is. Look at all his drawings. Look at how he dresses. Look at how he talks. Look at the way he talks to everybody. He's so, oh my God, he's so emo. He's so goth. The
thing is, he's not very emo or goth in the beginning of the first one, the original.
It's not until he comes back.
Yeah. When he comes back, he's inherently emo and goth.
Because he just came back from the dead.
Crow. Well, no, it's not because he came back from the dead, because he's the Crow.
Exactly. And
it's the crow that makes you emo and goth.
Ever.
Obviously.
So they meet, and after like catching eyes one time, they fall in love. They escape the facility because the bad guys find her.
Okay.
And she takes him back to his mansion, and then we get just this long, drawn out like snippet scene after snippet scene of them kissing, of them having sex, of them at a club partying, at them in a bathtub smoking weed and joking with each other, them snuggling, them being wrapped up in curtains. And it's like, it's probably, I would wager half of the movie is either the movie showing you how in love they are or showing you the flashbacks to how in love they are.
Do you think maybe the point of all that, do you think like the people who are writing this were like, yeah, and this is how we'll capture the whole e-girl audience and the guys who want goth girlfriends? Like, do you think maybe like there was like a marketing ploy to like how this was written? Because it sounds like you're describing something that's like it's trying to be like, hey, you're part of that culture that likes emo and goth, right? Do you want to get down here?
Yeah.
The people who I know who would be described like very readily as being like emo goth, like you know, I go to these alternative markets. I'm going with like my friends who run brands that are for emo / goth / dark metal hardcore bands, right? Like none of us are emo and goth and are like overtly that way in our personality, right? Like we're all actually just like hugging each other and having a great time and being like, oh, it's actually the opposite of what people would think. Like we're all like, look at this cute skull, like,
right?
You know, it's not actually that emo or goth at all.
And the depiction in The Crow, I think, is kind of it's so inaccurate. It's so elevated to a level that just like. It's just not there. And like, so what ends up happening is after, you know, they get escaped, they're in love. The bad guys track him down. They murder both of them. He goes to this dumb. Like weird, it's like a mirror dimension where this old guy and a bunch of crows are. It's in the trailers. You know, like the weird grassy, muddy area in the trailer? It doesn't matter.
Do you mean the Raven Man from Magic the Gathering?
Kinda. He's there. It's a crossover, didn't you know?
His real spoiler alert, his name is Lim Dool. Anyway.
Oh, that is him. I'm just kidding. That'd be really funny. But
Magic the Gathering crossover confirmed.
So, he comes back as the Crow, and then we get like, so we're probably at the 50-minute mark, right?
Okay.
The next 25 to 30 minutes are him not understanding that he's the Crow. It's like he gets into like a couple very lazy, very poorly blocked like fight scenes where he doesn't understand what's happening.
So he's pulling a Mark Wahlberg, basically.
I say prayed up.
What's going on?
Yeah,
I
basically.
don't even know. What do you mean I got powers?
So here's the I want to.
What do you mean I'm the Crow?
What do you mean? So
what do you mean I died and came back from the dead?
Here's where the new Crow does some things that isn't like the original, and I think it really is just for the absolute worst of this movie. Here's a couple things that they changed that makes no sense.
Okay. Hit me.
For one, if he successfully gets his revenge mission, he can bring Shelly back to life.
Yep.
Which happens at the end of the movie. Unlike the original where they both stay dead, he remains as the Crow in like the weird inner between dimension, and she comes back to life.
Oh, they're trying to make him a superhero, basically. The other thing, an edgy superhero that will come back again and kill more bad people because of his love for her. This is so dumb already.
Well,
keep going.
The what's even stupider is at one point in the movie, it said that he could bring her back and himself as long as he doesn't lose sight of true love. But then when he finds out that Shelly killed somebody, which I'll explain that in a second, it comes with the villain of this movie. He like doubts their love, and because he doubts their love, now he can only bring her back, not himself.
This is so dumb.
This plays into the villain. Do you remember what the villain was in the first Crow? It was just like a gang. It was just a
Yeah,
gang
he was just
of...
he was just a dude who liked cutting out people's eyes.
It was just a gang of punks.
Yeah, and it was just random violence. Like
Right.
they were just dudes. They didn't even have like a real title. Like the guy was just like the most ruthless of all of them. That was it.
Yeah, and they just had funny nicknames, and
Yeah.
it was just a gang of people that did something wrong, and then you had the cop that was there.
And that's all it ever needed to be.
Yeah, you had the little girl. So, do you want to take a guess if they kept the villain the same in the new one?
No.
Oh, if you guessed, it's a guy who made a deal with the devil and sends innocent souls down to hell in order to keep his immortality, then you'd be correct.
My God.
Now, if you were wondering if they were going to do anything with the fact that he made the deal with the devil, or the fact that he's immortal, or any of that, or if it was just going to be a throwaway line to make... He's immortal. The bad guy's immortal because he made a deal with the devil. Here's what makes it even worse. They do nothing with that plot point. It plays no role. What he does, this is the whole, like... why he's after Shelly, why he's after Eric, is because there's a video where he whispered in Shelly's ear and it made her kill somebody. That's it. That's the whole tension. That's the whole mystery of what's on the phone. And what? Hang on, because what makes it even worse, he dies. The bad guy dies at the end because he fights Eric. Eric punches him a little bit. And then some weird mud monsters grab him and drag him down to hell and tear him apart. That's how he dies.
What the fuck?
On top of that,
this is so dumb.
The other thing that they changed is Shelly's mom was working with him and gave Shelly up when she was murdered. So Shelly's mom got her murdered, basically.
This doesn't make sense.
It's so stupid, right? Like,
none of this makes sense.
And here's the thing that also sucks is I was kind of like, well, maybe the action scenes will be good.
They weren't.
And here's my hot take. Ever since John Wick ruined action movies while also simultaneously saving them, every movie nowadays that has action is trying to be John Wick. And the thing is,
which is dumb.
And what made John Wick, and another movie that I'm going to talk about in my jam session, what makes movies like John Wick really good is the fact that, for one, the director of that movie comes from the stunt world. He worked on like The Matrix. So he understands blocking, he understands action scenes, he understands how all of that works.
Yeah.
Movies like The Crow go, oh, let's just do John Wick action, but they don't have the talent. Not that Bill Skarsgård, but like the stunt team and like the coordinating, like the fight coordinator, the skill just isn't there. So these fight scenes,
the vision.
A majority of the fight scenes in the new Crow movie are just people shooting Bill Skarsgård nonstop until he gets close enough to then stab them with a sword. He uses a sword as a weapon.
That's
and he
dumb.
It's just like, there's one scene where he literally just like gets shot a bunch, falls to his knees, a bunch of people close in, he just wakes up and like slices all of them at once. It's just it's lazy.
Yeah.
Like it's like the action wasn't interesting.
I just imagine the direction. They're like, all right, Bill, so these guys are really shooting you. They're really filling you full of lead. They're just popping holes all through you. You're basically Swiss cheese at this point. You're going to fall down, okay? Then you're going to get up, sword slice.
Sword slice. You seen Fruit Ninja? Sword slice.
Yeah. All right, what's my motive in this scene? You're going to sword slice him, Bill. Bill, listen to me, baby. You're coming at them again. They're really shooting you. They're filling you full of lead. You're just being popped full of holes. More holes than a piece of wax paper in the wind with blades coming at it. And then you're gonna get up and you're gonna sword slice them.
Yeah, and that's like, okay. Here's the one positive thing I will say about this movie. Bill Skarsgård, for what it's worth and what the script is phenomenal. If he was,
he's good.
Put him in a good Crow movie.
That's a very big compliment. If you're in a movie that's as bad as the one that you're describing, and then as an actor, like, you still pull off a good performance,
it's like
phenomenal. Wait, is FKA Twigs good? Is she good?
No. See, okay, so that's the last thing I'll say about this. The problem that I have with the love story is if you're gonna expand the love story out and give us all this unnecessary backstory of how these two came together, the chemistry, the writing, and the scenes that you're going to show need to actually sell this relationship.
And do they do that?
No, because this is what it feels like, Kevin. It feels like these two meet, 24 hours later they escape, 48 hours later they're dead. It feels like it takes place. I have no idea. The passage of time in this movie.
What's their getaway plan? To go to New Jersey?
They literally just crawl out of a window at the facility and then jump over the gate and then just disappear.
Do they look each other in the eyes and say, "I'll meet you in New Jersey"?
No, they just hold hands and run away. But that's the thing. Like, there's no passage of time in this movie, so it just feels like these two people fell instantly in love and then got murdered. So the true love, like the love being the most powerful thing and being able to bring somebody back from the dead and as like this vengeful spirit, it's not believable, because to me it's like, you guys have known each other for less than 3 days. Yeah. Like how it's not. Yeah, I don't like what I appreciated about the.
It sounds like they're trying to do an Orpheus thing because Hades Town has been super. It sounds like here's what it sounds like. It sounds like somebody saw The Crow, or didn't,
or didn't. Yeah,
or didn't.
Probably that one.
But someone gave them an overview of The Crow, and then they write a new script for The Crow into AI, and then they took that script and they went and sat down and they watched Hades Town, which is a retelling of the tale of Orpheus, right? Where if he looks backwards because he doubts that his love is behind him, they both get damned, right? Like he loses her, he can't have her, right? And then it also sounds like they watched A Winter's Tale, which I don't know if have you seen
Will Smith is the devil at the end or whatever.
Have you seen
Colin
A Winter's
Farrell?
Tale? Have you seen A Winter's Tale?
I saw that shit in theaters.
Me too.
Sorry.
Me too, because I had a
movie
girlfriend who wanted to see A Winter's Tale.
Should I put that on?
That
should I do
movie,
that on Magnum Opus?
actually, we not only should you do this on Magnum Opus, I think A Winter's Tale is going to be our horrible movie that we watch this season.
I think I'm gonna watch that for Magnum Opus.
I think I think both of those things should be true, because that movie's fucking incredibly horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think somebody was like, all right, let's do A Winter's Tale, but in the Crow universe, but also because Will Smith is the fucking devil. There's people making deals with the devil. It's fucking horrible, and it sounds like what you're describing is like a mashup of all those things.
Yeah, because what I liked about the first Crow is that you meet Eric and you meet Shelley. They're in their loft. They're engaged. Yeah. They're loving up on each other, and then the people break in. They do that horrible stuff to her. They kill them both, or they kill him, and then she dies later. And you're like, wow, if that was me, that would suck. Because I think, you know what? I want your opinion on this.
What?
To show a love story, right? I think here's my opinion. Everybody, for the most part, I think everybody has been in love at one point or another. Right, if you're watching the movie like The Crow, if you're over the age of 18, you've either had a high school fling, a college fling, you're married, you've had a long-term relationship before, you've been in love, you've been into somebody, maybe not in love, but you've been into somebody before, right? So I think, unlike The New Crow, where it tries to show what that love might look like, because to everybody, love is different. Like, love languages, the way that, couples interact, what they're interested in, all of that can be different from couple to couple. So I think doing something like the original Crow did, where it's just like, here's a couple, they're a couple because there's a line that says they're engaged, you see how like they're acting with each other, and then 5 minutes later they're both dead. I think because you can put yourself in that situation and be like, oh, if that was me and my fiance,
you don't need to build it up.
I don't need to know exactly. You don't need to build it up, because you can put yourself in that situation easier without the build up.
I think they missed the mark on what genre this film is in, because this film, like when The Crow came out, it was originally action horror, right? That's it.
Yes.
It wasn't romance, drama, into Mark Wahlberg not knowing what the fuck is going on, into action horror. It was it was just action horror. So it starts out and you're like, oh, cool, here's two very good-looking people that are in a nice relationship. I would like to be in a relationship. Oh no, what's happening
he got
to
thrown
them?
From a window.
Yeah.
And now she's in a hospital. I hope she makes it. And she's dead. Oh,
and
now he's coming back for revenge.
Yeah, exactly. And so like the whole thing about The Crow was it was very quick into what it's supposed to be. And not only that, Brandon Lee was an action star. And this movie, it sounds like, could have turned Bill Skarsgård into an action star. We all know he's fit enough for it.
He already did an action movie earlier this year.
Look at him. Look at him. The dude is fit, bro.
Hang on. I want to, because, you speaking of the action star, like, I think he still could be one. He was in a movie called Boy Kills World, and he was in John Wick 4. Like,
exactly. They could they could have tapped into the action of this. Here's the thing about The Crow. The Crow's supposed to be like, it's not about leaning into the edgy goth side with like a stupid sword. It's about cool action, double Uzis,
and
like
how far you'll go for
double
love.
pistols, like all of the. It's basically like when The Matrix came out. It was almost like, oh, what are you trying to be, like the digital version of The Crow? You know, like that's. Like, the Crow was so good at establishing what it was. It was like, he's in leather. He's got black eye makeup, you know? Like, you could even throw sunglasses on that motherfucker if you wanted to. Double Uzis, double pistols. Like, it doesn't matter what weapon he's got. He's going to kill you with it. Dude's an expert.
So here's the other two. I have two final thoughts for The Crow.
Me.
The first one is...
First, did you see The Crow 2? Have you seen that, City of Angels?
Oh!
Have you seen The Crow 2, City of Angels?
That actually leads perfectly into my point. I have not seen any of the sequels for The Crow.
Okay. The Crow 2 City of Angels, when I saw it as a kid, not bad.
Okay. So this
not
is
bad.
this okay, I'm glad you mentioned that because like I said, The Crow was one of those movies when I watched it, I became obsessed with the making of because Brandon Lee obviously died on set, but the director went on to do things like Gods of Egypt. Like went on to just do some very bizarre movies. In an interview with him behind the scenes, Brandon Lee, somebody asked him, this is towards the end of filming, this is like a couple days before his accident. They're like, you know, hey, it's like, is this going to be a Crow universe? Are we going to get like multiple Crow sequels? Is this going to be like the next big action series? Like, you know, what are the plans for this franchise? And Brandon Lee's like, I don't think it needs to be that. I think this is a self-contained story. It's based off the graphic novel. For those that don't know, there's a graphic novel. And he's just kind of like, I don't think this is something that needs sequels. I don't think it needs to be a franchise. I think this is just like a really good self-contained story. And then here we are, 3 Crow attempt sequels later, and this new reboot with Bill Skarsgård, and it's just, it feels like it shits on what they were originally trying to capture in some ways.
Yeah, I agree.
My second final thought has eluded me. So.
Oh, great.
I guess that's my only thought then.
Well, there we go. That's what happens when you get COVID brain fog, baby. This is the Unpop Relaxed podcast. We're all forcibly relaxed. We have to be relaxed, and it sucks. I'd rather just die and come back at this point.
Be all God. I don't think. Oh yeah, okay. Here's this bothered me. So let me talk to you for a second. Right. So. There's a friend. Eric has this friend in the movie.
His ride or die.
And when he comes back to life, he goes to visit him.
Which one happens?
Well, and his friend like gives him a gun, and then Eric goes for like the first action scene. Which the first action scene is literally he just jumps into a car and tries to fight somebody in a car before he gets like thrown out, and that's like that's it. So this friend has been helping him. I believed the friendship between these two characters more than the love story, and I was rooting for this friend. Eric goes back to his house, the bad guys catch up, and Eric like instigates them, and so they shoot his friend in the head in front of him. Then, you know, a punch-up happens, and then when it's all said and done, Eric is just casually sitting on the couch next to his dead friend, smoking weed, making jokes to himself. He got his friend killed, who helped him out, and then just nonchalantly is chilling next to his dead body like it's not a big deal. Didn't care at all.
Dumb.
Didn't care at all.
That's dumb.
That bothered me more than anything else because I was like, dude, that was your best friend. That was literally your ride or die. You got him killed, and you don't even care. It was his
ride and die.
Oh, also at the end when Shelly comes back. She comes back to life.
I love that you just didn't even acknowledge that.
Because I can't. She comes back to life after she's already been pronounced dead.
That's so dumb.
So, like, 3 days later, she just, like, comes back to life. It's so dumb.
Nobody's like, hey, what the fuck's going on here?
No, it's just normal.
This is so dumb. Yeah, I agree. This is dumb. I mean, they should have dipped more into just, like, the self-contained story and stuff. Here's a thing I've been thinking the entire time that we're talking about this. Could this have been a better movie to be properly remade and paid homage to by the guy who remakes horror films, Rob Zombie?
No, he would have ruined it.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, Rob Zombie goes too far with the edginess, and like, given the fact that the original has the SA scene, he would have turned that into something over the top and extreme that we don't need.
Okay.
In my opinion. You know what I think this would be good as? Legitimately.
What?
I think, for one, that's what my second thought was. This is perfect. Originally, this was going to be a Jason Momoa story.
Okay.
And I think he would have been a perfect Crow. This was going to be like almost 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, Jason Momoa would have been a perfect Crow.
That would have been hilarious because it just would have been like they would have killed him and then been like, yo, that dude's huge. I hope he doesn't come back from the dead.
That would actually be a hilarious line in a movie. I hope he doesn't come back. He's fucking massive. He can easily kill me.
Oh, this doesn't turn into some sort of a vengeance plot from beyond the grave. This guy's gigantic.
Yeah. So you know what I think would be good? I think you get somebody like Jason Momoa who has that natural, like, Brandon Lee black long hair. Because I think the long hair is a must. I think the short hair on Bill Skarsgård just didn't completely do it for me. Okay. And here's what you do. I think you do a 6-episode miniseries. And the first episode, you can do all of the, here's Eric, here's who he is, here's the death, here's the setup. And then from 2 to 6, it's, you know, each episode maybe is like each one of the gang members he gets revenge on. And there's also the cop subplot, and you could expand it out a little bit more. And then by the end, you know, he goes back to the grave and he's done, and it's a one-time series. And by the end of it, it's all said and done and it's all over. Nobody comes back to fucking life.
Hear me out.
An anime.
Yes. First off, this should have been an anime.
Should have been an anime.
Secondly, yeah, because that would be actually amazing and edgy.
Yes.
Edgy heroes in anime is like a normal. That's
you can
like
make
a
it
thing.
so gory too. But
exactly. And then hear me out. You're saying miniseries. I'm saying 3 episodes.
Yeah. Even
that's
that.
It.
Like the
1-hour episodes. That's
like the
all you get.
Show.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it for what it is. I think we need more of that.
Yes.
In our culture, we need more of knowing when things stop. We also need more of like, all right, let's pay proper homage to this thing. Because you'll end up making more in the long run off of it. I don't think studios understand. They would make more off of the cultural hit that is a mini series at this point than they would off of any extended series, right?
Yeah.
Keeping the mindless indulgence people like who are just watching shit to watch it on streaming engaged is so far less important than the people who are actually engaged in any sort of a subcultural like fervor for something. You know, like if we want to talk marketing, like the people who end up selling your product, your brand, are the people who embrace it the most. And so getting those people to pay attention, love, appreciate, and then carry it forward is more important than at this point than spending another $1 million to keep it going.
You know, you made me think of one thing that I need to
maybe we are going to succeed as a brand. Maybe we'll end up branding.
Here's one other compliment I'll give The Crow because you made me think of it.
What's that?
The whole movie doesn't feel like it's setting up a sequel. It doesn't feel like it's setting up a sequel at all, actually.
That's good.
And that's something that I think a lot of movies
until the end where he's stuck in this liminal space and she's alive again and the devil guy's immortal.
Well, no, he died. He gets ripped to shreds.
Oh, by demons?
By mud people.
Oh, by mud people.
Also, you know,
because the Crow has mud people on his side now.
Yeah.
This makes no sense.
It doesn't. You know, I mentioned Bill Skarsgård being like the Jim in this shitty movie. I would say that Ariana Greenbelt, who played Tiny Tina in Borderlands, she was good in that movie. Like, she's a good actress.
Yeah.
Everybody else around her was surprisingly not.
Ariana Greenblatt is
very
good. Yeah, Greenblatt. She is a very good actress. And I'm honestly excited to see what she does in the future because like I think she really got sold short on the Tiny Tina role. I think Tiny Tina is like an amazing role for her, but I think like she should not have been in the first
that movie
Borderlands.
Fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think she's great. I think she does a great job in everything that she does. So that'll be good. I think Bill Skarsgård is going to end up doing something way better than this in the future. It sucks that this was a miss and not a hit for him. I really do think FKA Twigs should get a shot at something else. I mean, I could definitely see her being on something more rooted in drama, maybe, than like
I can see her being in like a superhero movie at some point, probably.
She's just so good, and I love her music. And like, maybe she's not an actress. Who knows? Like,
not every singer needs to be.
I'm not gonna poo-poo it permanently, but I'm gonna say like if you're saying that she was bad, I'm gonna trust your opinion on it. And I think she could do better. I think she is a great artist, so I hope she does better in the future. That's it.
There is another new movie that came out that I want to hit you with real quick.
Are we done with the Grow?
Yeah, I think done with the Grow forever.
We're done.
Now this isn't my jam, but I do want to mention it.
Shut
because,
that tomb.
Because I was able to see it, and I think it's worth talking about briefly.
Okay.
The new movie Blink Twice, Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut with Channing Tatum. Look, I'm not going to spoil anything about it because it's one of those that if you don't know the twist.
Well, it's a metaphor for implied consent and sexual assault. I think that all of culture has already fingered that button. Like,
spot on.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you plan to see it?
Yeah. Okay, I listened to the Weekly Planet episode, so it's kind of been spoiled for me. But,
then real quick, if you don't want to know anything about Blink Twice, skip ahead for a second because I do want to talk about the spoiler since you already know it. So if you don't want to know anything about Blink Twice, skip ahead like 2 minutes just to be safe. But the twist being, and I saw it before I saw the Weekly Planet episode. The twist is basically Channing Tatum is a tech guru who makes a drug that makes women forget so they can basically take advantage of them over and over and over again without them remembering.
Yes.
And that's the twist in it.
And that's a metaphor for gaslighting, distorting narratives, like controlling situations. Yeah.
And I probably liked it more than the Weekly Planet. Okay. I love Channing Tatum. He's always been an actor that I just really, really love for some reason.
Yeah, I like him a lot too.
Zoe Kravitz, I fucking love Zoe Kravitz.
Same.
In everything.
Keep going. Yeah.
And I think
she's going to be in the next Batman movie, right?
Yeah, she's in the first one.
I hope she's in the next. Well, they ride off in different directions.
She should be in the second one, I'm sure.
I hope so.
But like,
they were like, and now we part ways, and I was like, no, Zoe Kravitz,
she'll be back. She was too good. She was too good
so
not
good.
to be.
Yeah.
But
right,
like, even as a director, I was like, and you know, I've said this before, and this isn't me being like, I'm such a movie snob that whenever I watch a movie, I tend to pay more attention to the cinematography and the directing because that's just that's why I love movies is because of those two components. Like, acting is fine, but, and as a director, I think she fucking nails it. Like, I think she learned a lot from being on Big Little Lies because that show was phenomenal, and I think like she's carried that on with her. And she's worked with some incredible directors and cinematographers. I mean, she's worked with Greg Fraser and Matt Reeves, like two insanely good storytellers.
Yeah, and you can tell she's like getting better as time goes on. She's really honing her skills. Like she as an artist is also like she's phenomenal. She's improving all the time. Like yeah.
I totally agree. So I think as a director, she nails it. I think the story is original enough that it's compelling. I think that the acting is phenomenal. And it's definitely worth, even if you know the twist, even if you're still listening and you know the twist, even knowing the twist going in, it still does a good job of telling a story that you need to know. Like it's solid.
Well, it's kind of like knowing the twist of Bodies, right? Like even if you know the twist of Bodies, like it's still a really good film. Like that doesn't change anything. Yeah. And it actually seems like when the Weekly Planet was describing it, I'm like, this kind of like there's a little bit of the bodies element.
A little bit of that,
you know,
vibe.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
No, I think Zoe Kravitz does a very good job. I think even if you don't know the twist going into it, you'll probably like
you can still
guess
enjoy
it. You'll probably guess it.
You can definitely guess it.
Yeah, because it sounds like there's a moment where they're like, something's wrong here, and you're like,
there's a very specific moment where the friend gets bit by the snake, and that's the moment when you're like, okay.
Also, I really like this. I like that, I like that they're on an island that produces the only flower that can do this, and also the only snake that can counteract it.
Honestly,
I like that. Talking about self-contained stories, I like that she was just like, nope, it's only on this island. This is where it is. This is where everything happens. We don't have to carry it onward.
And honestly, like, I saw a couple complaints where people were like, well, how is that? Who cares? I don't care.
It's a
it doesn't do
movie.
anything to the story
exactly.
except for contain it.
How is that? I don't know. Did you watch something else that was relatively unbelievable and still suspend your disbelief this year?
How did all those dinosaurs
Marvel
get on that
fan?
island?
Yeah, like get the fuck out. Like,
Anyways.
When people are poo-pooing, like, okay, the only time I don't like something that's unrealistic is when the universe is setting up rules and then the unrealistic thing breaks those rules. That's it. But if you're introducing a new rule, like the rule is, here's the flower. The rule is, here's the snake. Cool. Totally fine, right? Yep. But if you're like, the rule is, here's the flower. The rule is, here's the snake. And then you're like, but on another continent, we found something. I'm like, get the fuck out. Like, yeah.
I agree. So I just wanted to mention that one. Again, not my jam. I have an actual jam, but.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
No, I think that was solid. Okay, so movies that kind of fall into this category. Like The Crow informed a lot of like darker, edgier action films, right? And video game franchises. Like we've got Max Payne, speaking of Mark Wahlberg.
Oh my God, Max Payne.
So, I'm not talking about Mark Wahlberg, I'm talking about the video games, okay? Like but like, you know, we've got like Max Payne, and we've got like some of these darker, edgier things. Like I said, it's a trope in anime now. Like the makeup that Sting wore in WCW. Like there's so much that The Crow informed that it seems like they're trying to cash in on the image more than the substance in that film.
Absolutely.
You know, and like. And I think that happens a lot in culture. I think, once again, same thing with Borderlands. I think Borderlands failed because they're trying to cash in on an image, not the substance. The substance, like you have to find out what engages people the most in it, what's the most fun part, and then how do you balance that with smart and engaging and meaningful plot, right? So you do smart, engaging, meaningful plot, and then weave it into the substance that is the most fun in the universe. Don't just lean into the substance that you're trying to cash in on and then try to write a plot around that, because if that's what you're doing, you're going to fucking fail. I think that's what we're learning time and time again this year.
That's
like
a great
Madam
point.
Web, right?
Yeah, like they take one thing where they're like, Madam Web. Oh, women that are Spider-Man. Let's write a story about that. And then they don't think of anything else except for, well, we'll just have them be women Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Or, Borderlands, we'll have, Roland drives, and he has a gun, so we'll give him a gun and let him drive. And Tiny Tina loves explosives, so she'll have a lot of explosives.
Exactly.
Like,
and
no thought.
like they really, and like, and then there's no creative thought beyond that. Another thing that I've been thinking a lot about recently is like, it seems, especially this year with like what's coming out, even on streaming and even in like between streaming, cinemas and like I would say like limited releases for even television, it seems like there's kind of like a dwindling pool of named actors that are being grabbed for things that companies just want to promote a lot, right? Like it seems like they just keep grabbing, and like I don't want them to do that because I don't want to get sick of Bill Skarsgård. I don't want to get sick of Chris Hemsworth and Channing Tatum. And I don't want to get sick of them. So like, fine. We need, this is going to sound like really weird. I need, not we, but I need like the next generation of good actors to start just being pulled, because as I'm looking at these different things being made and like just like the sheer mass to which we're creating story, right? And now I'm getting a little philosophical, but the sheer mass to which we're creating, propagating, recreating, and the speed with which we're doing that with story is so dizzying. But there's so many of the same faces in all of it that it's becoming just kind of blasé. See, it's kind of interesting you say that, because I almost feel the opposite, where really
to a small, I don't disagree. Like I agree with you, but it's interesting because what I've been seeing now, I've been obviously mainly going to the theaters. I feel like the pool of movies that are coming out don't have a lot of actors that I either recognize or like. Like a lot of the movies that are coming out aren't real draws for me, and I'll admit this, and feel free to make fun of me. Okay. The only reason I'm excited for the movie The Craven the Hunter is because I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't care about that movie at all, but I'm excited to see it because I like him. You know what I mean?
I'm interested to see it because he's not supposed to be the good guy. Like, I'm interested in that. Yeah.
Which makes me interested.
I'm interested in that. But like that seems cool.
I look at the movie like Wicked that's coming out, and like here's the thing, like for me, I don't care about that story, and there's not an actor in that movie that's enough for me to be like, oh well, I'll go see it anyways because Jeff Goldblum's in it or Ariana Grande's in it. Like none of the actors.
Yeah, I think they absolutely failed on the casting for Wicked.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's kind of a hot take. I have some friends who are into theater, and they're like, Ariana Grande's blah blah blah. You can't. And I'm like, no.
That's the casting that I'm like.
That's a horrible casting. I don't think that's good. I don't think she's that good. Like,
and they missed the chance to get people like me who's never seen Wicked to go see a movie by putting an actor or an actress in there that I would be interested in seeing. But like, I can't say that anybody in that movie from the trailers, I'm like, oh, it's her.
This is going to sound like a hot take. I think they need to take more Broadway actresses, like people who are like actually known for just crushing it in current day on Broadway, actors and actresses, and put them in musical movies.
See,
like,
you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because if I had found out that the Wicked movie was starring the cast from like the big Broadway show, I'd probably be more inclined to go see it because it's in movie format, which is what I like over Broadway, with the Broadway stars.
Well, you can't do that now because they're all like in their 40s. But
well, no, I'm saying like,
but
a current show that's on Broadway that's doing well with the Wicked cast or whatever.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like if the more Broadway people you brought, so I just watched Tick Tick Boom recently, with some theater friends, right? Great movie. There were a couple really great Broadway actresses that were completely underutilized in that film. I think that they consistently and it's what's really funny about that is Rent, the movie, completely uses Broadway actors in a great way. Like, it's phenomenal. But then Tick Tick Boom, a movie about the guy who wrote Rent, doesn't. Yeah. So like, it's just really funny that that's like the juxtaposition, and that kind of like that made me think even more. Like when I'm looking at Wicked, I'm like, okay, I get it. Ariana Grande is huge. People love Ariana Grande. There's a lot of young women who will go see it, and it's a story about a young woman, and they'll end up like, and I don't doubt that the singing will be good in it, but I doubt the casting and creative decision to create something that's an homage to staged performance without incorporating more people who are currently recognized and on the rise in stage. Because like the people who were in the original Wicked cast, it's not like they were like super famous before that. You know, like they were on the rise, like they were popular, but they weren't super famous.
Yeah.
And so to grab people who are super famous just because you're making the movie now, I think is the wrong move. This is your chance to take other people who are popular but not super famous and put them in that role and give them that same shining light and carry that torch that theater carries with it. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah. I don't disagree at all. I think.
Thank you. I appreciate you agreeing with me.
I can't think
I'm sure other people don't, but no, you know, like that's just my thought on it.
I was sitting here while you're saying that, I was trying to think of an example of this, and I can't think of one on top of my head, but I know they're out there, where you have a story or a property that's adapted from something, and I personally believe, talking about adapting and sequels and requels and things like that.
That's all we're doing this year.
I feel like if you're gonna bring something to life, you the source material and the direction of that source material is important. So when you have something like a musical, and then you hire people that aren't like musically inclined to perform that, like to do those roles, or you just grab a singer because they sing in the movie, so if we grab a singer, then she'll be good in it. And I know obviously Ariana Grande was kind of an actress before, but like, she was never good. I've never seen her in anything where I'm like, wow, Ariana Grande, fucking give her an Oscar. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And I just feel like a lot of times that kind of stuff gets muddled. Like Tick Tick Boom's a good example. Like Vanessa Hudgens can sing and she's an actress, and I love Andrew Garfield, and they're great in that movie. But I agree with you. Like, weird that it's about the creator of a Broadway musical that uses Broadway musical people, and then this one doesn't really.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that like if you're going to adapt something, like the original creator of the comic book needs to be there and have input in the script or anything. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't mind if we do these adaptations, but if we lose what made the original source material good in the first place, what's the fucking point of doing the adaptation?
Yes, and part of what makes good theater good is being pleasantly, or even I would say like ecstatically surprised by the cast. Like when I went and saw the traveling version of Six this spring, I was blown away. Like, and I knew nobody on that stage. I didn't know any of those actresses, and I was just like, oh my god, all of you are phenomenal. Like it was, and it's such a rewarding experience to not know anyone's name going into something, and to like I knew it's about Henry VIII's 6 wives, but like I didn't know anything else about the musical. I was just like, oh, this is fucking sick. I love this. The music is dope. The concept is great. You know, like all these actresses are phenomenal. All the band is great. Like, and once again, all female led, like just chef's kiss on that. Like such an enjoyable experience, and like the focus wasn't like they weren't reminding you every 5 minutes like this is all about us ladies. They were just like doing the fucking thing, and I was like, hell yeah, that's what's up. That's how you get everybody in on something. Don't hammer us over the head. Just recruit the best. Do the best that you can with your writing. Put forth a good story with good, compelling acting. Tie everything together with a nice bow and call it a fucking day, because that's all we're looking for.
So what I think what we're both saying is just make things good. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
just make things good. Just make things good.
Just be good.
Just do
be
better.
Gooder. Be gooder at this, guys.
Hey, Kevin,
Hollywood.
What's your jam?
Hollywood. All right, cool. I'm
gonna flip the script. I'm getting you this time.
What's my jam?
Yeah, what's your jam? Before you catch me off guard, I'm gonna catch you off guard.
Yeah, no, you're not catching me off guard at all. No,
you never have a jam. You never have a jam ready.
I'm fucking prepared. I'm so prepared. I have options. Let me tell you something about my jam. Okay. I give you 2, sometimes 3. In my brain, I've got 8. Every week, I've got new stuff that I'm taking in because I'm constantly trying to just indoctrinate myself with new thought. And that's not a flex. That's just like, maybe it's ADHD, maybe it's being on the spectrum, maybe it's, who knows what the fuck kind of neurodivergent brain it is that yearns for this shit all the time. But I am insatiable. Okay. So, who knows? But Era, the metal band, just released a new album. Absolutely phenomenal. Mwah. It's called Cure. They're kind of genty. They're kind of postmodern metal. Absolutely, like, I cannot recommend it enough. If you like metal at all, that's the jam this week. New Dance Gavin Dance coming down the pipeline, by the way. That's going to be fucking dope.
Dance Gavin
It's not out yet, but it's coming down the pipeline. Fronted by our boy Andrew Michael Wells. We love that. I also, Solo Leveling, issue number 9 came out. That's my jam. Already crushed it. You know, my boy's son already crushed it. We're going to exchange notes on it. Because that's, I don't know if you remember, this is my cute little passing reading. Yeah, we're reading manga and passing it back and forth. This one, his grandma actually got him a copy of it for his birthday. So I was like, all right, I'll go buy my own. Like, you don't have to pass me the copy your grandma gave you.
Yeah.
So, but I did finish it, and I gotta say, Solo Leveling is a great power fantasy manga. If you're into manga, definitely read it. 100% read it. And then because spooky season is coming right around the corner, and by the time this comes out, it officially is spooky season. I'm going to give my yearly recommendation that everybody watch Over the Garden Wall, which I already did this week, and ate potatoes and molasses, which is fucking delicious.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Here's the thing. Anybody I've described it to has been like, that sounds gross. And I'm like, listen, I'm watching Over the Garden Wall. I know that the episode is coming up where he's going to eat potatoes and molasses. I have potatoes. I can only eat yogurt, potatoes, applesauce, other yogurt
T-bone
things,
steak,
and ice cream right
apples.
now. I can't.
I know, I'm kidding.
I can't eat anything hard. It sucks, man. I'm going to end up being like 170 pounds after this. But yeah, so I'm just like, so I was like, all right, well, I know I've got molasses right over in the cupboard because I know where it is. I've organized the cupboard recently. So I went over, I got some, I drizzled it, and I got to tell you, fucking delicious. All right, those are my jams.
I was blowing my nose. Great timing. Stop staring at me. I don't feel good, Kevin.
What
Your judgmental eyes. My jam. I finally got around to watching the movie The Fall Guy.
Okay.
With Ryan Gosling
Oh,
and Aaron
it's
Taylor
your
Johnson, and Emily Blunt, and the lady from Ted Lasso, who's the owner of the team, and
I can't remember her name right now.
And then there's another guy in it.
My
that
boy
I really
Micah loves her though.
What is
Loves
name?
her.
I think it's like Rachel Winston. It doesn't matter. Look, here's the thing. The Fall Guy comes from the director David Leitch, who did, I believe he did the first Deadpool. He did Atomic Blonde.
Yep.
He was one of the co-directors on the first John Wick. He comes from that stunt background.
Yep.
This is not what I thought it was gonna be. It's like $5 to rent. It's 2 hours. Ryan Gosling is fucking nominal. Of
he's
course.
Great. We love Ryan.
It's interesting because I know that all the stunts in the movie are practical.
Yeah.
But they kind of CGI some stuff, or it looks like they touched them up with CGI a little bit to where they look just not real enough.
Yeah.
Like, they're still good. They still look good. But, like, at the end of the movie, there's a montage of all the stunts they did, and I'm like, that was practical? Like, it looked like that part was on green screen. But with that, I think if you want it's got, like, a decent love story, pretty good action.
Okay.
It's not terrible. I definitely understand why it didn't do super well. It's more flashy over substance, in my opinion.
Okay.
But overall, Ryan Gosling. I mean,
phenomenal.
I think it's worth. My other jam is a movie
hit me.
that I don't think anybody except for me has ever seen. Have you ever seen the movie Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
From 2004 with Jude Law and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, I love Jude Law. It's all
Same.
steampunky. It's like, yeah. It's good.
I love that movie as a kid. So this week, feeling under the weather, I decided to watch it again because it's only like a 90-minute, it's a quick adventure. I think it's aged really well because now it looks and feels even more like a comic book from the 1940s. Like the bad effects and everything like kind of lean into what they were going for.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I love Sky Captain in the World Tomorrow. I love the 1940s like steampunk aesthetic. I love the cool plot and twist and story, and I don't know, it's just like James Bond, but like he's an American with an airplane. His airplane has gadgets. Like, it's a good movie.
Okay.
Good movie.
I'm down with that.
Good movie.
That's a good recommendation, buddy.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
That's all I've got.
That's cool. What are you doing this weekend? Anything fun?
Nothing. I'm not doing anything.
No.
I still feel like
I know,
shit.
Same. I know.
I might go back to bed.
I'm literally not allowed to do anything, and it's killing me.
I'll probably just keep editing because that's basically all I've been doing in between working.
Good call. You want to edit this podcast?
No. No, I do not. I don't want to do that. That's not my style.
You hear that, future Kevin? Odie doesn't want your job.
No, put a womp womp sound right here for me, future Kevin.
Just fucking stop it.
No, I will not.
We're not putting a womp womp sound.
Fine, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Nope. There you go. Oh my god. Get out of here with your crow. Let's flap out of here.
Let's flap out of here.
That's a helicopter. What the fuck are you?
My crow is a helicopter.
Mechanical crow.
My
You're
crow
an
is a
ornithop.
1911
Jesus
attack crow helicopter.
I'm flapping my wings over here, and you're spinning. Jesus Christ.